suddenly he or she finds themselves over the edge. How they handle the resulting spins, crashes, and fires is what separates the merely good from the great. Stick around. The one thing that all the people you are about to meet have in common is that they all went over the edge and they walked away. '87, Winter Nationals, Pomona, California. Tim Morgan, far lane. His machine judged the most beautiful entered. Just before receiving the award, the machine got some battle scars.
Yeah, sometimes beauty doesn't play a part in the sport, though, Steve. No matter how nice it looks, it still has to work right.
And just when it looked like it had righted itself upside down and kind of like a slut car started running along the wall.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot to get a car like this out of shape, and once you do, it's really hard to save it. It just goes over.
Well, other than having his bell rung just a little bit, Tim Morgan was okay. In fact, the car wasn't all that badly damaged in the race later on in the year. In 1986, the SCCA Formula 2000 cars came to Riverside. Although light and maneuverable, they can get into trouble just as fast as the bigger cars. Curtis Farley in the yellow car and Carlos Babita found this out the hard way in the S's. As we look again, the yellow 27 got a little wide in the S's and must have lifted, catching number 5 Babita by surprise. As a result, Farley takes a hard shot and is headed for the sidelines with lots of mangled fiberglass. He walked away, done for the day. Returned for the New York Kodak 500, only to see number 68 Darren Brassfield go out with an oil leak. Later, number 63 John Mafuccio was shown no respect by this adversary and is simply nudged out of the way. But it's the racetrack itself that showed Sarl Vandermeer no respect in his Corvette GTP. It sent him spinning wildly out of that right-hand turn.
Spinning.
Talk about tires that have been flat spotted. The tires on Vandermeer's car must have come off the machine in the shape of cubes after this little mishap.
This was one of those races that spectators will talk about for years to come. It was an almost dead-even start as the two cars blasted off the starting line. Oswald smoked the tires in the middle of the course, indicating lots of horsepower, and that proved to be true. As he approached the finish line, he pulled ahead of Bernstein and won the race. No appreciable changes in the top fuel points, nor in funny car, but Mark Oswald served warning at Denver that he was coming after Kenny Bernstein and John Force. Warren Johnson back in the Pro Stock lead, even though defeated in the finals. The Quaker State North Star Nationals was the next stop on the national event trail at Brainerd International Raceway near Brainerd, Minnesota. One of the most exciting occurrences of the 1986 season came in the first round of Funny Car Eliminator. Norm Day exploded an engine in his race against Tim Gross. Day's car crossed over in front of Gross, the parachute burning off. It went over into the grass and overturned. As the car rolled over... was not to be. It was not Kenny Bernstein that went out early, but Mark Oswald. In the second round against Johnny West, the Candies and Hughes car went up in smoke right off the starting line. West won the race, but that put Mark Oswald out of the points competition for the World Championship title. And it happened to Warren Johnson in the second round of Pro Stock Eliminator. He was racing against Darrell Alderman when Alderman pulled one of the more brilliant driving jobs of the event. He left the starting line very, very quickly, well ahead of Warren Johnson. Johnson in the Oldsmobile unable to catch Alderman at the finish line, and that put Johnson out of competition for the day.
Of all the world champions, Glidden's road to the title was by far the rockiest. He struggled through the first half of the year, initially trying to sort out a new car, and then recovering from his Southern Nationals mishap. He finally made it to the winner's circle at the Mile High Nationals, and then proceeded to win 5 of the next 6 races. This is his 7th world championship. No one has won more than 4. Glidden's incredible career includes championships in 1974, 75, 78, 79, 80, and 85. Helped by wife and crew chief Etta and sons Billy and Rusty, Glidden has been the dominant force in pro stock racing. His career began in 1972 when he left his job as a line mechanic at an Indianapolis Ford dealership. He holds the record for the most consecutive wins, 9, and is tied with Don Prudhomme for the most wins in a single season, 7, a feat he accomplished in 1978 and 79. After the way Kenny Bernstein dominated funny car racing in 1985, many people figured him an odds-on favorite to repeat in 86. However, things don't always go according to plan. Bernstein spent the first half of the season being plagued by little problems. However, by the Spring Nationals, Bernstein and Super Crew Chief Dale Armstrong seemed to have things sorted out. And although he lost the speed record to Mark Oswald, Bernstein was still the quickest and fastest funny car down the quarter mile. He became the first funny car to go over 270 miles per hour and the first into the 540s. Bernstein began racing in his native Texas in the 1960s. After a brief retirement to build up a restaurant chain, Kenny returned to full-time drag racing in 1978.
In the Winston World Championship chase for Top Fuel Eliminator, it was a first-round victory by Don Garlitz over longtime competitor Gene Snow that gave Garlitz an unprecedented second Winston World Championship in a row, a total of 3 overall.
'75 was quite a year. Again, we wanted to repeat as the world champion, and Don certainly didn't want us to. And he had he built a new car, and he come out and he ran. You know, he always runs very good, and we battled back and forth all year long. The points were very even all through the years, and so the stage was
Kenny
set.
Bernstein was the number 2 qualifier, had top speed of the event, but just couldn't catch Trip Shoemaker, who was a little stunned by it all.
I've seen you more excited after a first round win. I don't think you've totally accepted this yet.
I'm burnt out, man. We changed motors and everything. Got to run Bernstein. He's a bad Jose, boy. I tell you. I'm just glad to be here.
But you ran good too, like 6:07?
Is that what I ran? Yeah. I didn't know that. They couldn't have me the time card. I went by the lights too quick.
Well, it was 100.
Amato's performance in the final round was not enough to back up the 283-mile-per-hour record for bonus points, but his win over LaHaye moved him further into the Top Fuel points lead. Kenny Bernstein, Bob Glidden both also padded their margins.
Reading, Pennsylvania was the next stop after Indianapolis and the Castrol GTX Keystone Nationals. Rain forced a 1-week delay in eliminations and as a result created a tune and test day for the racers. Kenny Bernstein took advantage of it, and that proved disastrous. Bernstein's car, out of control, on fire, ran off the racetrack and ended up upside down in a swampy area at the end of Maple Grove Raceway. Bernstein's car suffered mechanical problems partway through the run. That in turn led to the engine explosion, which engulfed the entire car and the cockpit in flames. The engine continued to pump fuel through the broken fuel lines that fed the flames, and Bernstein sat at the core of a 200-mile-an-hour fireball. Bernstein, extricated from the wreckage by the NHRA Safety Safari crew, was uninjured in the accident. The car did not fare quite so well, but after an all-night session, the crew was able to rebuild the chassis, put on a spare body, and Kenny Bernstein returned to competition, where Kenny's luck took a change for the better. In the first round, Bernstein received a bye run that allowed him to check out the rebuilt race car. In the semifinals, it was Bernstein against Mark Oswald, the defending champion. Oswald had been the performance leader, and that proved to be true in the semifinals when he put away Kenny Bernstein with a 5.52-second elapsed time. In the first round of Top Fuel Eliminator, the crowd favorite Joe Amato from Old Forge, Pennsylvania, set both ends of the national record. He had an elapsed time of 5.11 at a speed of 280.37. In the second round, Amato not only backed up the 280, but actually improved on it to 280.98 miles an hour to take the national record. In the semifinals against
These are Top Fuel dragsters. They're drag racing's ultimate speed machines. The basic concept of run what you brung carried to its technological, innovative extreme. The AA dragster story can be summarized by necessity is the mother of invention. The need to go quicker and quicker, faster and faster.
April of 1990 found the NHRA Winston Championship Trail moving to mid-Georgia and the new Atlanta Dragway for the AC Delco Southern Nationals. But the mood there was very somber because the racing world had just learned of the crash at Santa Pod Raceway in England of Darrell Gwynn.